We focus so much on the innovation and the bells and whistles and the cool stuff, the cool features. Then what do? We freaking throw it in a brown Amazon package. That's what we do. We then couple it with all these buzzwords, best in class and data-driven engagement, patient at the center of what we do. And it's this freaking brown box that everybody has on their stoop every day. And we wonder why we can't stand out and we can't grow the business and we aren't seen as different.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know. It's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy. It's comedy. It's definitely full-on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Hey guys, it's Erin here. I'm on for a solo episode, and lately I've just been jumping on anytime I sort of have this pent up thoughts, energy, and it's not completely pent up because it's stuff I also talk about. I don't hold things in very much, but maybe sort of new epiphanies, new ways of thinking about things. And usually they're the category of sort of tough love too, that I love to bring onto the podcast, into your earbuds once in a while. And I'll sort of frame this one up, kind of giving the context of, when I first started working on this authenticity shtick, if you will, and started to get obsessed around this concept of authenticity as a strategy. I mean, the truth is, I really gravitated towards what I thought was the natural application. And the way I put this is really HRE type stuff, meaning how authenticity can help your culture, your leaders, your career. Sort of how does it help you stand out and make connections, build trust, be a better leader, etc. And, that's kind of the space I played in for the first couple of years until one of my clients hired me to work with their sales team a little over a year ago. And I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes in life we have these you dumbass type moments. I can't even call it epiphany because that sounds like it was actually smart. What I realized, and it took me a while to get this, was that the same value that you get when you're using authenticity sort of internally, culture, leadership, et cetera, your career is just as profound as you apply it to externally, whether that be your sales, your business development, your marketing materials. And I sort of had this, then I'll call it an epiphany because I kind of put two and two together. I mean, one of the things that we learn in this business is you have to, what's one problem do you solve? And I got to be honest, that sort of tripped me up because I'm like, I solve everything. It solves everything. Authenticity helped me, my business, helped me, my career. And so I really kind of got to this place where I'm like, wait a minute, not only does it help internally, it helps externally. And what happens so often as business leaders, especially those that are, their metrics are around revenue growth, sales, really hard numbers, not maybe a little bit more fluffy numbers like projects completed or on the operations side. It's stressful. There are constantly new challenges and bogeys to hit and money to save and revenue to be found, especially when you're working, in a company, a publicly traded company or a private equity based, there's so much pressure. And so what happens a lot of times, and you might feel this too, is what you want to do is focus on culture and leaders. You want to leave a legacy. You want people to be happy. And the business case for it. You know that if you focus on those things, it will have a financial return. But the reality is you're so freaking caught up in the pressures of the numbers and the metrics and the sales. And what I finally realized is, and got really excited, not that I wasn't already like this dorky, excited person about authenticity, is that what can help you internally could also help you externally. And sort of, it's like a kills two birds with one stone. Like you start to train your people and rewire their brain and have them see the value of using authenticity, it will both help you sort of externally stand out, stop the sameness syndrome, make more sales, connection, trust, etc. And at the same time, they're going to be using that same stuff internally, and people are going to be getting along better. Your culture is going to be better. Your employee engagement scores are going to be better, etc. So that's maybe a big epiphany. So where does like the coaching and the tough love in? I mean, one, as you think about authenticity, don't stop at freaking, not just internal, don't stop at like the easy stuff, the internal meeting, the one-on-one conversations. There's really an art to this. And as you start to build confidence, and where the real power comes is when you start to use authenticity more boldly. Bigger meetings internally, in external meetings, in external materials. And the metaphor that really has been like, keeps coming through my head lately is that I feel like, picture your company. You're always trying to come up with like the most colorful, cool, like birthday present for your customers and your prospects, right? And I picture this. I picture that marble. If you have kids, like there's this marble thing that had all the tubes and there were multiple colors, and you could put it together and make different sort of like marble runs, and it's like colorful and it's fun and it gets big, and we do that. We focus so much on the innovation and the bells and whistles and the cool stuff, the cool features. And then what do? We freaking throw it in a brown Amazon package. That's what we do. We then couple it with like all these buzzwords, best in class, and, data-driven engagement, patient at the center of what we do. And it's this freaking brown box that everybody has on their stoop every day. And we wonder why we can't stand out and we can't grow the business and we aren't seen as different. And, as I thought about that metaphor, then I thought, well, people need to put it, like they need to put some wrapping paper on it, right? They need to put, some like happy birthday or bright colored wrapping paper. And then I was like, no, that's what marketing thinks they're doing today. You need to take that stuff and throw it on like a parade float, because nobody else is doing that. Other people are maybe putting some wrapping paper, or maybe they're getting a little bit out of the round box. But really, you need to like think bigger and bolder and connect with people and think about that parade float. Like it gives you vibes and feels, and it stands out and it's different. And I feel like that's like most people and companies are missing like literally half the picture, the packaging. And they don't think they are, right? Because you have marketing, you have the pretty PowerPoints. Oh God, you probably spent millions of dollars on marketing firms who do the research and the input. But then once it rolls through the factory of overlords and overseers and executives and inputters, and like it becomes the lowest common denominator, which often brings it right freaking back to a brown box.
Hey, did you know that August 16th is National Roller Coaster Day? It's so ridiculous. I freaking hate roller coasters. So whatever. But it is also National Authenticity Day on August 16th. And here's the coolest thing about National Authenticity Day. Besides, us being obsessed with authenticity, you can actually make someone else's day. And you don't get to do this very often. Every year, we, The Authentic Inc., the company that's behind this podcast, sponsors what we call the National Authenticity Awards. And it culminates on National Authenticity Day. And that's just when we recognize leaders, everyday workers, and companies that inspire the crap out of others with their authenticity. And you should totally nominate someone. I mean, can you think of a better way to give back to someone you work with? than putting them on the grandstand of the authenticity goats. It's cheap, it's free, and it's such a great thing to do. So to nominate someone or a company, it's easy peasy. You just go to nationalauthenticityday.com and click on the link in the upper left-hand corner. Nominate them now. So stop listening, go nominate.
So I'll give you an example, and I've been doing this a little more lately. It hit me like I can envision it. I write with authenticity. I package things. I like to think I package things on that flow. And I talk about it, but I never showed people. So one way I've been demonstrating this, and I want to give you a few examples to like get the creative juices flowing and make you feel the difference. It's just simply looking at a company's like overview or value prop statement. And this is just one example to try to beat over your head. Like there are millions of places where, quite frankly, the bar is so low because everybody else is stuffy and boring that if you just have the guts, the vision, and maybe a little bit of guidance from somebody like me to be more authentic, to be bolder, to talk like a human, you would easily stand out. So let me give you a couple blinded examples of like, value propositions and overviews that I rewrote, honestly, in like a hot second. So I'm not saying these would be the final, but I actually feel like the best stuff is when you don't get it to the lowest common denominator and have a bazillion cuts and edits and people look at it. But let me give you a couple examples. So this is, first of all, this is a consulting firm in the healthcare space. And their value proposition today says XYZ company helps clients make their organizations more successful and people's lives better. We do that by delivering people solutions that improve experiences, provide better total rewards and benefits, and control costs. I mean, sounds noble. Sounds like what they do. But how did it feel, right? It kind of felt like the words you've heard elsewhere. So here's my very quick rewrite with using the authenticity strategic principles that I teach. XYZ's associates wake up every day obsessed with making you look good. We do that by hunting for and kicking down every barrier we can find that prevents your employees from being happy, healthy, and not spending money on things they don't need. You feel it? And not only, it's not just the 8th grade language everyone talks about. It's like 8th grade language with like a quarter glass of wine, right? It's just a little bit different. It's just a little over the edge. But it makes you feel like, oh my gosh, these people, they're obsessed with making me look good. And I talk about, kicking down barriers and hunting for things, like using words that are a little sassy, a little different, a little bolder. They're not even 8th grade language. They're unique. So that's one example. I'll give you a second example. This one I played with. This is a company I don't know well, but they're a rising healthcare company in the women's health space. And this was their sort of headline overview. I don't know if it's really their value proposition or what, but on their website, because that's what I was able to get a hold of. And so it says, inclusive and equitable fertility, family building, and women's reproductive health benefits. That's in bold. And then it says, we believe everyone should be able to achieve their dream of family and ideal health. At XYZ Company, our data-driven model is at the heart of everything we do, laying the groundwork for superior clinical outcomes, cost savings, and exceptional member experiences. Okay, so yeah, they do smart work. They do good work, but I don't even know quite what they do, right? Well, I dug deeper into what do they do. So I looked deeper in websites and kind of understood what they do, and they really focus on women's health sort of end to end. And so this is the authentic version I rewrote. In bold, we focus on what makes women both special and miserable. Women, and then in smaller, women possess the most magical and complex biological software there is. For most women, from the time they start menstruating until the time their body, messily, sunsets their software, there's an incredible number of challenges, pain, and opportunity. At XYZ Company, we take the guesswork out of helping women manage through all of this, ensuring they both have the family they dream of and the body they deserve. I don't know about you. As a woman who's been through fertility issues, who has endometriosis, and now is perimenopausal, this really hit me a lot more than, cost savings, exceptional member experiences. Now, these are B2B companies, so they write these because they're like, well, I'm talking to the decision maker. Well, guess what? First of all, in healthcare, most of the decision makers are women. And a lot of those women are probably at one of these phases. Probably a lot of them are, quite frankly, in perimenopause or maybe even pregnancy. And so just these little changes make such a big difference. So I just want to encourage you, as you're thinking about innovation, marketing, sales, like, are you fitting in? Are you standing out? And because so much of the industry, especially I play in the B2B, healthcare, financial services, more sort of traditional places, the bar is so low, like it doesn't take much. And ask yourself, like, would we get in trouble for saying this? I mean, most of this stuff, people will be like, well, we can't talk like that. It won't make us sound. Well, isn't the point to connect with the people that you serve, both at the business level and at the end user level? So look at these things. Actually, in my book that's coming out, The 50% Rule, which we're getting closer. A month from this recording, we'll be doing pre-sales. I tell a couple of great stories of where companies got really bold. And it's one of those where you'd read and be like, oh God, I don't know if our lawyers would let us do that. And the reality is they can. There's no reason. You have to fight for it though. They have to understand that there's nothing illegal or reputational. So I really encourage you to challenge the status quo. And the best way to challenge it is to kind of do what I do, like give some examples, help people feel it. Or the absolute best way to do that is to get guidance and help and support from, an authenticity addict like me. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you start to think about like maybe at least just moving from the brown paper box to the wrapping paper to start. I'm not starting to build maybe a little float and a bigger float. Because at the end of the day, when you do that, you're not just making yourself feel better and people around you, but you're going to stand out from the crowd. And who wants to fit in? Not me.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.